A person's greatness is determined by their thoughts. This timeless truth has been proven repeatedly by the lives of successful individuals like Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, and Jeff Bezos. Napoleon Hill, in his famous book Think and Grow Rich, said, "What you think about, you become." But if that's true, why do so many people struggle to succeed? Do they not think about their future? Do they fail to see their own potential? Today's story will uncover the answers to these questions and teach you a powerful lesson along the way. So stay with us till the end. I promise this video will be worth your time. In a small coastal town, there lived a young man named Marcus. Every single day, Marcus cleaned tables at a busy seaside cafe. He would wipe down tables, sweep floors, and take out the trash. The work was honest, but Marcus felt stuck, trapped, like his life was going nowhere. One sunny afternoon, a famous artist named Mr. Chen stopped by the cafe. He ordered a coffee and sat by the window, sketching the beautiful ocean view. Marcus, as usual, came to clean the nearby tables. As Marcus wiped down a table, Mr. Chen looked up and asked a question that would change everything. "Young man," he said softly, "do you have dreams?" Marcus froze. His cloth stopped mid-wipe. No customer had ever asked him such a question before. He hesitated, then replied quietly, "Dreams? Sir, I'm just a cleaner. I don't have time for dreams. I'm too busy trying to survive." Mr. Chen set down his pencil. He looked directly at Marcus with eyes that seemed to see right through him. "That's your first mistake," he said calmly. "You called yourself just a cleaner. You've already decided what you are, so that's all you'll ever be." Marcus frowned, confused, maybe even a little offended. "But it's the truth," Marcus said defensively. "I clean tables for a living. What else would I call myself?" The artist smiled, a knowing, gentle smile. "Let me ask you differently," he said. "What do you see when you look at yourself?" Marcus thought for a moment. His shoulders slumped. "I see someone with no education, no money, no special skills," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I see someone who has to work hard just to pay rent each month." Mr. Chen nodded slowly, understanding the pain in those words. "I understand," he said, "but answer me this. Can you see colors?" Marcus blinked. What kind of question was that? "Of course," he replied, puzzled. "Can you hold a brush?" "Yes, but—" "Then you have everything you need to be a painter," Mr. Chen said simply. Marcus laughed. It was a bitter laugh, the laugh of someone who'd given up dreams long ago. "Sir, with all due respect, there's a big difference between holding a brush and being a real artist like you." Mr. Chen stood up. He gathered his sketches and his coffee cup, but before leaving, he reached into his bag and placed a small paintbrush on the table. "Keep this," he said, looking directly into Marcus's eyes. "When you're ready to see yourself differently, you'll know what to do with it." And with that, the artist walked out of the cafe. Marcus stood there, holding the brush in his hand, the old man's words echoing in his mind like a bell that wouldn't stop ringing. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He lay in his small apartment, staring at the ceiling, replaying the conversation over and over again. What do you see when you look at yourself? The question haunted him. It wouldn't leave him alone. He got up, walked to the mirror, and stared at his reflection in the darkness. What did he see? He saw tired eyes, rough hands from years of cleaning, a person who had accepted his fate. But then something shifted. He realized something painful, something he'd been avoiding for years. He had been defining himself by his current situation, not by his potential. He had labeled himself as just a cleaner for so long that he'd forgotten he could be anything else. The label had become a prison he'd built himself with his own thoughts, his own beliefs, his own words. "I'm just a cleaner. I'm just trying to survive. I'm just. That word had stolen his future. The next morning, Marcus woke up before sunrise. Something was different. Something had changed inside him. He took the small brush Mr. Chen had given him. With money he'd saved from tips, he bought the cheapest paint he could find and an old piece of cardboard from behind a store. Then he painted. His first attempts were terrible, clumsy, amateur. The colors ran together, the lines were shaky. But something felt different. For the first time in years, Marcus felt alive. He felt like he was doing something that mattered. Days turned into weeks. Every morning before work, Marcus would wake up early and paint. He painted the sunrise over the ocean, the fishing boats returning to harbor, the seagulls dancing in the wind. Slowly, his technique improved. His hand grew steadier. His colors became more vibrant. But more importantly, something was changing inside him. He no longer saw himself as just a cleaner who paints. He started seeing himself as a painter who also cleans tables. It was a small shift in words, but it made all the difference. One day, about 3 months later, the cafe owner noticed Marcus's paintings leaning against the wall during his break. She stopped in her tracks. "Marcus," she exclaimed, her eyes wide. "These are beautiful. Did you paint these?" Marcus looked up, surprised. He nodded shyly. "It's just a hobby," he mumbled. "Just a hobby?" she said, shaking her head. "Marcus, these are wonderful. Would you let me hang them in the cafe? I think our customers would love them." Marcus hesitated. What if people didn't like them? What if they laughed? But then he remembered Mr. Chen's words. He remembered the question. "Okay," he said quietly, "you can hang them." Within days, something unexpected happened. Customers began to stop and look at the paintings, really look at them. They would stand there admiring the colors, the way the light danced on the water, the emotion captured in each brushstroke. And then they started asking questions. "Who painted these? Are they for sale? Can I buy this one?" Marcus was shocked. People were willing to pay for his art? He started selling his paintings, small amounts at first, $50, then $100, then $200. The money he earned from his art soon matched his cleaning salary. But more importantly, he started to believe. He started to believe that maybe, just maybe, Mr. Chen was right. 6 months after their first meeting, Mr. Chen returned to the cafe. The moment he walked in, he saw the paintings on the walls. Beautiful seascapes, vibrant sunsets, boats on calm waters. He smiled, a deep, knowing smile. "So," Mr. Chen said, leaning back in his chair, "what do you see when you look at yourself now?" Marcus paused. He thought carefully about his answer. Then he smiled, a confident, genuine smile. "I see an artist," Marcus said clearly, "an artist who also cleans tables, for now." Mr. Chen laughed, a deep, joyful laugh. He clapped his hands together. "That's much better," he said. "You've learned the secret. You were never just a cleaner. You were always an artist. You just hadn't realized it yet." Marcus sat down across from him during his break. He had to know. "I don't understand, sir," Marcus said. "How did you know I could paint? You'd never seen my work before." Mr. Chen's expression grew serious, thoughtful. "I didn't know if you could paint, but I knew you could become whatever you believed you could be." He leaned forward. "Marcus, most people are imprisoned not by their circumstances, but how they see themselves. Change how you see yourself, and you change everything." He paused, letting those words sink in. "When I was your age," Mr. Chen continued, "I was a factory worker, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, doing the same repetitive task over and over." Marcus's eyes widened. He'd never imagined this successful artist had such humble beginnings. "One day," Mr. Chen went on, "my supervisor saw me sketching during my lunch break. He asked me the same question I asked you. What do you see when you look at yourself?" That question changed my life. I stopped seeing myself as a factory worker who liked to draw and started seeing myself as an artist who temporarily worked in a factory. Within 2 years, I left the factory and I never looked back. Marcus listened, absorbing every single word. "The brush I gave you," Mr. Chen said softly, "wasn't magical. Any brush would have done. But it was a symbol, a reminder that you already had everything you needed. You just had to choose to use it." 1 year later, Marcus quit his cleaning job. It was scary, terrifying even, but he did it. He opened a small art studio by the beach. He taught painting to children and tourists while selling his own work in the front gallery. He wasn't rich, but he was happy, truly happy, for the first time in his adult life. He kept Mr. Chen's brush in a frame on his studio wall with a small plaque beneath it that read, "You are not defined by what you do to survive. You are defined by who you choose to become." Whenever a struggling student would come to his class and say, "I'm just a beginner," or "I'm not a real artist," Marcus would smile, and he would ask them the same question that changed his life. What do you see when you look at yourself? Think about Marcus's journey for a moment. He spent years seeing himself as just a cleaner until one question shattered that limiting belief. The moment he changed how he saw himself, his entire life trajectory shifted. Most people underestimate themselves not because they lack talent, but because they've accepted a limited identity. They say, "I'm just a," and everything after those words becomes their ceiling. But here's the truth. You are not your current job. You are not your current circumstances. You are not your past failures. You are what you believe you can become. So ask yourself right now, what do I see when I look at myself? Am I seeing my true potential or just my current situation? Remember, every successful person was once someone who dared to see themselves differently before the world did. They became what they believed they could be, not what their circumstances said they were. Change your vision of yourself, and you change your future, because when your thoughts change, everything changes. If you enjoyed this story, give it a thumbs up, comment below on what you learned, and share it to inspire others. See you in the next story.